Hello, my name is Bruce Rain from Brankus Creations. I don't even know why I'm saying that because the two people watching know exactly who I am. But welcome to my live stream. A little bit later than I had expected today. Unfortunately, just day-to-day chores getting in the way. I knew I was going to end up down here at some stage. A big hello to Jay and a big hello to Steve. Thank you for joining me, even though I know it's obscenely late wherever you are at the moment. And thank you to everyone else who is joining. Hello, Matt. Thanks for jumping on. Anyone else who is a regular or new or just watching, please feel free to jump onto the chat and say hello. I have a mountain of tasks to do at the moment. The number of people sending me recapping work is quite extraordinary. I actually have a task that I really Mike, hello. Thank you for joining. Mike or Mick, depending on which social media platform I'm reading. Micro Mage Repair, thank you for joining. So I've got a couple of jobs. I'm not even sure which ones I'm going to do during this stream. I'll sort of figure it out as I go along. But one of the jobs I have here at the moment is to have a look at a cathode ray tube, which I hate. Hello, Boris, and hello, Zombie Geek 33. I'm going to stop taking CRTs when people ask me to have a look at them, and there are a couple of reasons for that. First, they're not really my specialty area, but in most cases, it's usually one of only about 3 or 4 things that are wrong with them. So when I look at them, I can usually sort of muddle my way through them. But it's mainly because they just take up so much space in the house. So when people say, can you fix them? It's like, do I have room to put this? So anyhow, I do have a monitor here, which I may end up having a look at. I've got another task to do, and that is to do a what do you call that thing? Upgrade. What do I call it again? Mystic upgrade to a Color Classic. That's for Mike. You see in the chat there. We've recapped the analog board of that Classic, and the next thing to do is to modify it slightly. I've got a whole stack of recaps to do. I've got a couple of LC 575s, and actually let's bring up all the job sheets here, shall we? I'll bring up my job sheets and I'll tell you what I've got, and then you guys can tell me if there's one thing you would rather see more than another. Bear with me a moment while I bring up my little repairs. There we go. Just got to log into this thing here. Sorry, this is a little bit interesting. Oh, is everyone hearing me okay? As I said before, I'm back on my lapel mic, so I am. Whoops. I'm hopeful that it's all sounding nice and clear. Let's have a look at the jobs. So I have got I've got an SE30 that I can't get to work. That's always nice. I've got, that's done. That's done. I've got oh, that's, yep, okay, I know that one. Yep. I've got I've got a couple of new MacBooks. I've got a MacBook Pro 15-inch. When I say new, I'm talking new compared to what I normally do. I'm not talking new. 2010 new I'm talking about. And 575 for recapping. Okay, so all right, audio is good. That's good to hear. All right, so I've gone off there and just started entertaining myself for too long, and I've also managed to change my camera view while I was looking for things. So, all right. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just one little task, a tiny little task that I need to do and it's for a customer, and he has asked me to make him up a Macintosh Plus keyboard cable. Now, what I use for those, I've managed to cover up the chat here, there we go. What I've used for those, so yes, I just to sort of I've got a 15-inch 2010 and a 17-inch 2010, and what the 15-inch has got a swollen battery. It's interesting when this person brought it in to show me, and I listed at the top, and they said the only thing wrong with this is that the trackpad doesn't work. And I just looked at it from the side, and I could see clearly the trackpad was pushed right up. And as soon as you see that, if you've worked with a lot of those MacBook Pros, those unibody aluminium MacBook Pros before, you just take one look at it and you go, yep, that's the battery. And so the battery swells, it pushes the trackpad up underneath, the trackpad stops working, and it has the appearance that the problem with the computer is the trackpad, but it's actually the battery swollen inside. So the sooner they come out and get replaced, the better. And hopefully it hasn't done any damage to the trackpad, and it'll just be swapping over the battery. A 2017, I'm not sure. I will see. I think it might have been damaged when someone replaced the hard drive, and it will just see. So yeah, I've got this cable here. This is a telephone cable. This is the sort of cable that you would have connected between your sort of telephone handset and the phone, and it's in this little springy configuration. Now, obviously, you can see it's white. It's not grey like the Macintosh Plus. So it's not going to match perfectly, but you know, that's fine. But the problem is, and this has been a big problem for a long period of time, these particular cables, if you do happen to use them on a Macintosh Plus keyboard, fry the keyboard. So don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm essentially going to use the wire, the springy coiled wire for the keyboard, but I'm going to replace the plugs on the end because the plugs are wrong. And I don't know how well we'll be able to see this. Well, we won't see it at all because I haven't got autofocus on. But what I can do is I can go to my side view here, my trusty side view that's always green, and I can zoom into a particular region, like here. And as long as I can find that region, where is it? Where is it? Where? There. It's there. I'll put a little dot there, shall I? Where's my pen? Here we go. Right there. Dot. There's the middle of the camera view. Okay. So these cables, you have a look at those, you can see the colors there, and you can see they go, what is it? Yellow, green, red, and black, cross left to right there. And then if we have a look at the other one, they go, excuse me, they go black, red, green, yellow. So they essentially reverse themselves from one side to the other. And that is the problem. When you use a cable like that on a Macintosh Plus keyboard, it will cook one of the little ICs on the keyboard, and they'll be dead. And lots of keyboards have lost their lives to that one little problem. So what I have to do is I have to take one of these plugs off, and I have to put a new plug on, but swap it around the other way. Pretty basic stuff, but a very important step. So I'm just going to get this one out of the way, because as I say, it's one of the tasks that needs to be done here. I've got myself one of these crimpery tool thingies, and I need to chop it. I'll just take one of these off. Actually, I'm not going to use that for that. I'm going to use this. Say goodbye to the plug. Goodbye, plug. How's everyone doing out there? Have I got folks here from predominantly the US, or from other parts of the world, or Australia, or things and whatnot? I ask because obviously in the US it's getting pretty late or early, depending on how you look at it. Ew. Let's try that again. There we go. So I have just trimmed off the outside of the cables there, like that. And then I just need to, I might just trim, how long do they need to be? That's long enough. I'll just then do a bit of this, just tidying them up. Oh. There we go. And then I get myself one of these plugs. All right, who we got here? Oh, we got some more folks here. We got, okay, let's have a look. It's got all about the twisted ends. Good reminder. Matt's doing well. I am doing well as well. Thank you. The Mad Salvi. Learning something I was unaware of. In Los Angeles. Oh, well, that's what time it is in Los Angeles at the moment. Most of my most of the people I associate in the US are from the East Coast, so I'm better with the times over there. Having a workshop day here in Country Vic, building a relay for my CNC. That sounds like a bit of fun. Jay's doing good. The feeling of I'm free finally hit me tonight. Having a blast. I was wondering when that would hit you, Jay, because I knew it was coming. Yes, but it's Friday night, indeed. Just west of Ballarat. Okay. Jesse with the 575 mainboard. Which is up in the house. I might even end up recapping that today. How about that? Was it yours? Did I still have to recap, or was it yours that I've already recapped? Hang on. Bringing up the job sheet again. Bringing up the job sheet. Bringing up the job sheet. This will tell me. Still hasn't been recapped. There we go. It's up in the house, but hasn't been recapped. I've got a few 575 boards here at the moment. And a person whose name I can't pronounce is watching from Japan. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Michigan. Matt's from Michigan. I probably should have known that already, but I didn't. But now I know. So it's good to know. Representing Ohio. Okay, but no big hurry. Oh, yes, well, that's good to hear. However, I will do it quickly. All right, so what did I just say? I said when the big issue with when we've got these is we don't want them to go, they need to be the same. They need to be that way. So it's hard to see because you're not zoomed right in at the moment, but those cables are basically going black, red, green, yellow, and then they go black, green, red, yellow on this one, as black, red, green, yellow on this one as well. So they need to go the same left to right when you put the plug on. So like this, just like that. And of course these little RJ plugs are just so easy to work with. You just have one of these crimpy tools, you know, the main trick is in unplugging them. The worst ones to do, of course, are the, what do you call them, the Ethernet cables, because you've got to actually twist them around. You don't just put them in straight through. You've got to have them in different orders, and you've got to spread them around and stuff. I don't know who came up with that dumb idea of the way they're wired up, but you know, what are you gonna do, huh? What can you do? Now this one here is this is the wrong crimping tool. This one here is a 6 and an 8. I need a 4. I have a 4, but not down here in the shed. It's up in the house. So this little job, which is nearly finished, is not going to get finished right now. Sorry, because I can't be bothered going back up to the house just to grab the other crimping tool. I was really sure this one did 4 as well, but it doesn't. It only does 8 and 6. Piffle. All right. Well, there's that naked. But at least I had an opportunity to talk about what to do if you are wanting to make yourself up a cable. And then I've got some other bits and pieces here. Oops, I'm dropping bits. It helps if you zip up the Ziploc bag when you're finished. I'm going to need to buy a few more of these plugs soon. I'm nearly out. I've got some bits and pieces that I'm going to add to my little component tester. That's fallen down again. I featured this recently. I featured knocking this down recently as well. But I featured this little component tester in one of my live streams recently. It's this little guy here. And it was enough to actually make Greg Thompson, GT, from the MacYac team, go and actually buy himself one and make one himself. Which is good, because they're just great little things. But I realized when I was using this the other day, there are a couple of things that I need to get sorted with this. First of all, when you want to test these, you've got to put your components inside this thing. And that's no good for surface mount components because you can't test them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire up some leads to this, something like this, so that I can then actually have them hanging out so I can test components without actually putting them into this little thingy. And I'm also going to make it so that it's portable at the moment. If I want to use this, I have to plug power in the side there. I want to connect it up to a 9-volt battery. So I'm going to put a little 9-volt battery holder inside it and try and maybe cut a little hole in this and put a little window so I can put a 9-volt battery in there mounted somehow or other. Haven't figured out how yet. Anyhow, so that's another little task that I've got coming up in the future. Well, that's a little me time task. Right, one of the other things I have at the moment, I'll show you this. This is a work in progress at the moment. Whether or not I am foolhardy for taking this on remains to be seen. But I had someone send me this. Oh, hello, David. Thanks for joining. Okay, 9:35. Oh, that's not too bad over there, is it? It's not too late for the West Coasters. That's all right. Okay, so JJ Brubaker, thank you for joining from sunny Ballarat. Crazy Tech Reviews, hello. David Stahl, hello. The cabling originally, most of my job was crimping Ethernet cables and crawling inside walls and roofs for them. It was awful. Yeah, I can understand that. I've done my fair share of Ethernet cabling for the companies I've worked for in the past, and yeah, yeah. I don't mind doing it for myself. I don't mind running Ethernet cables for myself at home. You know, I've got an Ethernet port in pretty much every room in the house. Because, I mean, I've got wireless, but I really like cabled stuff. It's just, you know, it's just so much better. Wireless is great for your phones and iPads and stuff like that, but when you got a computer, you got to plug it in. So, thank you for loving the stream, Crazy Tech Reviews. I appreciate that. So anyhow, this is a Macintosh Classic 1, the original Classic. The original copy of another earlier computer. This was sent to me with some horrendous battery damage. Now, this has been through the, and capacitor leakage for that matter. It's been through the cleaner once, and I had a look at it, and I initially just sort of said to the guy, no way. And then I had a bit of a closer look, and I thought, you know what? Maybe not no way. Maybe way. So I've sort of quoted on how long I think it'll take to repair, and he's happy for me to go ahead with it. So I've done a little bit of work on it. I'll just jump across to the microscope now and just show you how bad it is, what we're looking at, and you know, sort of what the future holds. Just got to bring some focus in. Okay, so this is the main area of the damage here. Let me just get this into focus. There we go, and then I'll just get my eyes into focus so that I match the camera. Oh, my cat's lonely. Calling out. Now, we've got a fair bit of trace damage here, but it doesn't matter. All it does is go to these little test points. On the end of the board, it has these little test points here. They don't do anything. So if I've got broken traces going to those, I really don't care about those at all. So that's these ones here. You can see they're busted. There's no pads there at all. Don't care about this. Don't care. Where there are some problems, I can see here. I don't know if that goes all the way through, but it might. I'll need to test it. I've already done a few trace repairs on this here, namely around here. You can see those few little traces going through to the other side of the board. I've gone in and tested them with a multimeter. I've gone in and taken off a lot of the corroded coating off here and re-tinned it. I have removed and cleaned all the pads of the main CPU. This MC68000FN8. Well, it's basically the 68K chip. Same chip as you would find on a 128K, 512K, Mac Plus, Mac SE, Mac Portable. Main difference with this one is, of course, it is a square chip in a PLCC chip carrier, whereas the original Mac Pluses and that had in a great big long, what do you call those things? I can't remember the words, but they had in a great big long IC. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but never mind. So yeah, that's basically what I've done so far, but the job is far from over at this stage. I've also removed this chip, cleaned around it, fixed it up. I do have some repairs trace repairs on this one. Namely, you can actually see them here, they're clear as day. Now, this one on the bottom in particular, I mean, look at it. I'll turn on the beepity beep machine to see if we can just confirm this, but Thank you for that, Jay. Dip, that's the word. I couldn't think of dip. God. Oh, really, you know, there goes the old brain. Okay, so I'm just going to put one little lead there, and one little lead here, and there's a break in continuity. What a surprise! What about here? There too. There too. There too. Okay, so there's 4 trace repairs that need to be done on the side of this chip here. What we also have over here, see that little guy there? I was going to say guess what it is, but then I realized I just revealed it and the screen printing right next to it. That's the sound chip. Once again, for anyone playing at home, that's the same sound chip that you will find on a Macintosh portable. So a few shared components across the old Macintosh computers. But this one here, you can see the state that it's in. That's going to have to come off as well, all that red stuff around there. And probably this guy too, maybe. Might be okay with that. At a certain point, I will then try this out. And I mean, look at that. See that? That's going to have to come off. That's not even making contact with the pad anymore. That all of the solder has basically just corroded away from that entirely. So, round about now, I know that most of you are thinking to yourself, why on earth did you say you could do this? Not sure. Really not sure. But anyhow, I've invested a fair bit of time in it so far, so I may as well see it through. So anyhow, this is one little project here. I suppose while I'm here, I may as well do this sound chip. Hey, yeah, hey. So I'm going to whip this chip off. I'm going to clean up some of these pads, and I'm going to plonk it back on. So, as usual, when we're doing this sort of thing, we'll hit it with a little bit of hot air. Let me just jump across and check on all this. 12 concurrent viewers. Thank you for those 12 people. Get some tweezers. Apply some heat to this here. I don't know what that is. Bit of hair or something. Jeff Barnard, hello. So, yeah, it's starting to come off. There we go, off she goes. Now, as that actually turns out, there's quite a bit of nice, shiny looking solder underneath that. So, it was probably making good contact, even though it looked horrendous. But still, I do like to make sure these things come up nice and clean. I was at the electronics store today, and I was buying things, and I forgot to buy more wick. I feel like such a fool. What have we got today? Well, what we've got right this very minute is a Macintosh Classic that has suffered from some terrible battery damage. I do not intend to finish this in the live stream. I just thought it's one of these projects where I do a bit at a time so that I don't feel quite so insane about taking it on in the first place. And I figured just while I'm here, I may as well just do one chip. Just feel like I've done something. So, you know, as usual, bit of flux. Bit of gentle rubbing. Now, when you look here, you can see that I'm not having any real effect on the corroded stuff across to the side of these pads. It's too bad. It's too corroded. So I'm going to grab some wick and I'm going to soak up this solder, and then I'm probably going to have to get the trusty little blade out and scrape some of that gunge off. Okay, just clarifying for everyone who's watching, the term gunge means some form of dry corrosion or residue. If that residue or corrosion turns damp or moist, it becomes scunge. So, Oz Retro Comp, hello, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. We have just been killing time till you got here. So I'm just, yeah, I'm gonna have to clean this up a little bit first. It's a little bit, it's gone a little bit hard. So, cleaning up. So, Oz Retro Comp, we're looking at a Macintosh Plus here at the moment. It's one that I
foolishly just said that I would be able to repair after some terrible battery damage. I am working on it a little bit at a time, and I thought I would just jump on and do one little IC today. This is the sound chip, which has got a fair bit of corrosion around it, as we can see all this red. I mean, look at all that. Nice. Oh, that's nice. And when you scrape away and you see lovely copper underneath, everything's happy. Brings peace and joy to the world. But when you're seeing, you know, just sort of a void underneath it, not a void, a void underneath. At least with this, we do have, you know, there's still enough pad to stick to for some of those ones that are really badly corroded. There's a lot to be said for battery damage, isn't there? I mean, a lot to be said for removing the battery before storing for long periods. And in the instance of these particular computers, I think a fair bit of the blame does have to go to Apple, because they did create these computers, the Classics 2s, Plus, sorry, not Plus. Not 128K, not Plus, not 512K, but certainly SE onwards with these compact Macs, setting them up with Torx so that the only way you could get to the battery was with a Torx screwdriver and exposing yourself to the high voltages, I think was pretty mean, pretty rude. Yeah, so... Sorry, did I say Mac Plus? It's a Mac Classic. Mac Plus, one of the huge advantages of the Mac Plus is the fact that the battery is accessible from the outside of the case. I mean, you know, it seems like a small thing, but it's not. It's a huge thing. It's a massive, 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 huge thing. Yeah, as I say, it frustrates me all the time when you look at these computers where they haven't been opened, and of course they haven't been opened. I mean, you know, people don't have Torx drivers in their toolkits. I mean, we do, because we're all crazy enthusiasts, but, you know, most people that own these things didn't, and nor would they want to go inside these computers. I mean, they're, you know, sort of flyback transformers, high voltage, danger, danger, danger Will Robinson. So, yeah. Okay, so this here looks like it's probably... We'll see. Can I scrape anything off that? Is there copper? Any copper there? No. That is a trace break. Why did I take this on? Did I mention that earlier in the stream? I'm not sure. Can someone remind me? Okay. I think what happened, I think one of the things that happened was Steve, yes. So Steve recently got hold of quite a lot of compact Macs. I will be very interested to see what they're like inside. But yeah, I think one of the reasons why I took this one on was the fact that I'd had a few people send me battery damage stuff recently. You know, it's quite a few or all around about the same time. And pretty much everyone that I'd come across was just a goner, you know. And I think I felt with this one, you know what, for once I might actually be able to bring this back. I think that was my thinking. I mean, I want to go back in time and kick myself, but never mind. Here's my sound chip. Here's my wee sound chip. Here, looking super flash. I'm going to grab myself some sandpaper, just a fine grit, very fine grit sandpaper. And I'm going to just do a bit of this. Just cleaning up the outside of those pins.
Hey GT, thanks for joining. Just talking about you before, can't even remember what it was about.
I'm sure it was nice. Don't think I was saying anything mean. That's not like me. All right, just going to tidy up these pins a little bit. I mean, this chip really doesn't look too bad. Neatening them up.
Got the same capacitor gizmo. Oh, that's right. Yes, that was the thing I was saying. With the little this little guy here. After sort of seeing yours set up with 9 volts attached to it, I went out and bought myself, little stuff so I can go and put a 9-volt battery in it. And then I bought myself some little test leads so that I can hang some test leads out of it so that I don't have to just use this little guy here. This is also a waveform generator for people who need, waveform generators. That I've never actually used that part because I don't need it, but it's there. Okay, so enough of that. Where am I? Okay, this is where I am. Now, when I sandpapered those, you can see no, you can't see because I'm not looking at the microscope. When I sandpapered these, I have exposed the copper here. I've taken the corrosion off, but I've also taken off some of the tinning. So I'm going to need to coat those with a little bit of solder because I can hear a chicken. There's a chicken just nearby. By exposing the copper, I leave myself open for future corrosion. So just want to make sure I get those tinned with a little bit of solder first. Mine has more space at the bottom, doesn't it really? Oh. Interesting. Well, as long as there's space for a 9-volt battery, I'll be fine. I'll be happy. There we go. Sorry, I was a little bit out of focus there. The travesty. Well, that one needs more sanding by the looks of it. Let's have a look. See if I can clean it up. Let's get some more soda. Oopsie. I just finished working on an Amiga 600. So that's all happy and ready for reassembly and testing. I did one of those recappings in one of my live streams recently, and I had another one. I didn't live stream the second one because I figured if I do too many of these Amigas, people start thinking I'm the Amiga guy, and I'm not. I'm the Mac guy. All right. Can't fit a battery in yours. Oh, what a pain. Yes, that is Bernadette that I can hear, because Bernadette's the only one that's allowed out in this particular area. All the others are kind of locked down the back. She's so small that she can fly over the fence. The other ones can't. They don't have that sort of that amount of flight. They can only fly half that height. Right. Now, let's put this back on. I've mentioned this before. When it comes to PLCC chips, they have a little indentation on them. Just there's a little dot. And that indicates pin 1. So that is pin 1 there. And there is a little white dot on the screen printing here, which indicates that's where pin 1 goes. So that's how I know that's going to go around that way. And of course, the other thing they have is this little beveled edge, and they usually screen print a bevel on the board as well. So that's how I know that goes that way around. It's nice when you have this sort of information. For anyone who's ever worked with a newer Mac, there's nothing on the board. Nothing. Not a single thing. There aren't component labels. There's no indication of where the pin 1 is. There are no little guides for which way around things go. And that's why it's virtually pointless working on those new Macs unless you have a schematic and a board view. Because they're just completely and totally blank. It's kind of rude. It's kind of rude and mean.
But I guess that's progress, hey? Sign of the times. I'll just tack that on with a few, just a couple little blobs of solder there, and then I can get in this and go a little bit more crazy. Oh, someone's just started mowing their lawns. This one is going to be crooked and whatnot, but you know, I'm trying to politely say, I don't care.
The stupid thing is, here's the really dumb thing. I think I have a spare classic board. It's been recapped and everything.
It would probably just be so much easier for me to sell that board to the person.
Then go through all of this fixing of their own board.
What was I thinking? Perhaps I have something to prove. Okay. Nearly done.
There we go. Apple deciding not to be helpful. Yeah. Well, you know, I suppose it's probably not just Apple. I suspect most new devices these days are probably doing the same, not putting any labels on their boards. Saves them a step. Saves them the necessity of doing screen printing. Okay. That looks good. So there we go. Ta-da! That's the one chip I'm going to do today. I'm not going to do any more. I'll come back to that another time when I'm feeling better. All right, now one of the other jobs that I have here at the moment, and I don't know how much of this I'm going to do. I might do nothing. I'm just going to have it. Oh God, how am I even going to look at that? That's pointless. I can't even look at it. So here's what I have. Let me just go to this view. This is crap. Oh God, here's the cable and everything. Everything's going to come crashing down in a minute. Come on. There we go. Oh, what's that under there? This is the inside of a Commodore monitor, model 1720 or something like that. Apparently this monitor is suffering from intermittent issues, and the owner has asked me to have a look at it. I said, yeah, okay. Why? Why did I do that? Can someone please tell me why I did that? So what I will ultimately be looking for in this, first off, will be cracked solder joints. That's the main thing. Whoa, careful! I'm pressing the mouse with my with the cables here. So first thing I'll be looking for are cracked solder joints in here. That's generally the most likely problem you have with a computer, a monitor of this vintage. You know, it's just heat and cold and heat and cold, heat and cold, and all that sort of stuff. So I've got to have to look for cracked solder joints on all these little boards. Another common failing point of monitors of this age are this guy. This is your flyback transformer. So that's often a thing that you have to look out for. What else? Sometimes, let me spin around. Oh, sorry, I'm probably hitting my microphone. This guy, I'll have to do side view here. This guy here, that's a deflection transistor, I think. That's probably, they can sometimes be a problem as well. Yeah. So, yeah. And of course, the other problem that can always be there are failing capacitors. And that can be the case as well. So I'm probably going to need to pull some of these out and test to see if they're still within range or whether they're leaking or anything like that. And of course, it's pretty scungy as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to work on this one today. I mean, more than anything else, just for the sake of practicality, trying to work on this and live stream it is just going to be a nightmare because it's just so big and cumbersome. Oh yeah, I have worked on some other monitors before, and they've been nice, neat, tidy, easy little boards to work on. Not like that. Users might need to service their machines. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Even Lenovo, who used to make nicer user-servable machines, have turned into Apple Light. Yeah. The less said about HP, the better. They've been at war with consumers for way longer than Apple. So they do that. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Thomas Blaxland, hello. It's one of those funny things with Apple, of course, that we continually go off at them, and yet apparently they still have an incredibly high satisfaction rate with their customers. Customers seem to just love their stuff and keep buying it. Geez, that looks a bit smeary. So anyhow, I am now going to move on to the next project, which is going to be... Oh, that's right. I'm going to turn a Macintosh Classic into a Mystic. So this one... Whoopsie. Whoopsie. Wow, I've got a lot of boards here. I hope I know what they all are. Yeah, I do. Yep, I know what they all are. That's good. This involves me, of course, putting a Classic here. Satisfaction surveys are sent out a week after you buy something new, of course. Yes, no, this is right. This is very true. You can get any survey to really do anything you want. Where surveys should, I think, be important, and I was involved in a survey once where I actually got right up the people that were sending out the questions, because they were asking things about, how it performed up to, I think, the 3-year mark. And I said, well, where are the questions on how it performed after the 3-year mark? And they just said, no, they're not interested in that information because there are too many factors that can come into a sort of a device after 3 years, like the way it's used, which could, impact on its lifespan and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, I don't care. I want to know how things perform after 3 years' time. I mean, whether good or bad. The really good ones will last better after 3 years than others. But anyhow, that was just... Lachlan Corbin. Short answer is probably no. Only because I don't know what a P8Z68V Pro motherboard is. And that's mainly because I'm a fairly Mac-centric person. I have a loose knowledge of some other ones, some other computers, but certainly not a specialty knowledge. I have fixed other brands of computers before, but the thing is that I'm limited to just being able to fix stuff I can see, whether it be corrosion or leaky caps or battery damage or whatever the case may be. I'm limited to that to some extent. And if it comes down to doing some more, more specific sort of diagnostics on the thing, it comes down to not being able to get hold of schematics or not knowing the computer well enough or how they work and everything. I mean, with a lot of the Macs, there are similarities. I can often look at a board and there are sections that are all kind of the same from one computer to the next. So, okay. So let me just double check the... Five-year-old Dell Latitude. Right. So reading through. Just a standard PC motherboard. I have done a couple, but as I say, there were ones where it's like, oh, this one here's had some corrosion and it's here on the board, and I go in and I do a few trace repairs and I clean the board and all that sort of stuff. And that stuff it's like, it's visible damage. It's like if you brought a car to me with some panel damage, you can say, okay, yeah, I'll fix the panels. But if you say I can't make it, I can't get the car to start, it's a different story. It's not really. It's a terrible analogy. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's oh yes, thank you. Now I did something really stupid with this particular computer. Oh, don't tell me I didn't bring my Torx driver down. That's okay, I can do it with a small one. I did something really stupid with this computer. I pulled it apart and I recapped the analog board, and didn't do any damage to it. I'll show you what I did, and you'll see how stupid it was what I did. But I'll show you. Let me just get some paper towel to lay this on. Actually, I wonder if I can do this without having to lay it down. T15. Is that a T15? TR9. That's of no use to me whatsoever. Back in your box. What about that one? TR8. Come on. I'm a Mac person. I must have a T15 here somewhere.
TR10. That looks close, mind you. Yeah, it does. It'll do. Okay. Let me get a... I might put these in a Ziploc. I think I've already got a Ziploc for this computer. Never mind. Yes, I can recommend going and buying one of those long T15s. I, for years, didn't have one. I had a little screwdriver that I could extend out just enough to fit in there, and I'd just get my fingers in there for a Mac Plus or whatever to undo them. And I could open Macs. I've been opening them for years. But I one day just thought, no, you know what? I want a proper long-handled one. And I got it, and I was like, why didn't I buy this a decade ago? What an idiot. It's so good. Idiot. I'm doing the last one here. I actually have so many laptops because I fixed them, or used to fix them. I don't anymore. I do occasionally, just for people, you know, for friends and stuff like that. But I have just got so many laptops in the house, mainly of a particular vintage. And I mean, one of the ones that I love is my little tiny MacBook Air. Love it. It's the little one, whatever that one is. 10 inch? 11 inch? 11 inch. Is that right? Does that sound right? Okay, so I'm going to take this case off. Going to try and do it. I'm doing this really the hard way. I should be lying this face down before I remove this, but you know, why do things the right way when you can do them the Bruce way? It's the Brankus way. All right. Ending of support for systems before their time with the native Mac OS, you suddenly can't even update Firefox to stay secure and current. Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. That's something that I get very, very frustrated by because, you know, it's that sort of, what's the word? The word is different view. When you sort of, when they force things to fail, I can't, there's a word for it, but I think just Mr. Dictionary has left me today. You know, sort of obsolete, forced obsolescence, that's it, planned obsolescence, that's the word. Now when, I actually have a real issue with that, and the reason for that is that, you know, when you take something like a computer where you're going to spend a fair bit of money on, it's not like we're talking about a dustpan and broom or something here, and we're talking about, you know, a device that you're going to spend, well, certainly out here in Australia, you're going to spend over $1,000 generally for any kind of laptop that you buy. If it's an Apple laptop, you're going to pay even more. And there was a time, you know, many years ago, when you could just stick with using a really, really old computer for as long as you wanted. You didn't upgrade the operating system. You didn't upgrade the software you were using. You just kept working with the older software and you just kept using it. The thing that has really changed that to make it almost impossible to do that now is the web. If you want to use the web, the browsers keep having to get updated for security reasons, you know, sort of SSL certificates and all that sort of stuff. And then, of course, the browsers, they're updating their operating system, and then all of a sudden they don't support the older operating system on the Mac. So you need to upgrade your operating system on the Mac, and you can't upgrade because your hardware's too slow for the latest version, or hardware's not supported with the latest version of the software. And that's become a different trend now to the way it used to be, in that you really do become forced, if you want to keep browsing the web, you do become forced into you know, buying new hardware. And you know, that annoys me because I think people should be able to just keep using that old hardware if they want to. That's rant over and done with. Here is the well, certainly this this hour's rant. This is the really stupid thing that I did. I'm not sure how well you're going to see it, but I put this on
I put this back on, and I put new elastic on it to hold this in place. But I was just going to have to take it off again for the Mystic upgrade anyway. So I stupidly put new elastic on that's just going to have to get cut off again. So that's the stupid thing I did. So there we go. It's maybe not the stupidest thing in the world, but it's still stupid. Just what they're doing. Real challenges when new OS won't work with old peripherals. It's mission. Yeah, that's true. I've actually had a situation in the past where we had to keep old computers to keep old peripherals running. That's the reverse of the situation you're talking about there, and that is like when we had specialized equipment that was either maybe ran on SCSI or you know, sort of only had drivers, old drivers for it and stuff like that. And so we had situations where we had to actually keep old computers running old operating systems in order to run old hardware. Someone contacted me recently to ask for a black and white 9-inch CRT to replace one that they had broke, because as we all know, this is something that's been discussed in my streams and stuff before, is that the air gets sucked out of these via here, right here, and then they seal it. And that little seal is probably the weakest point of this monitor, and they can get snapped off, and then the air runs out, and then everything's bad. Someone I know has a monitor that's happened to, and they wanted me to sell them, and I do have a spare. But I just came to the sudden realization the other day that I do so many of these repairs that if I snap someone else's, I've got to have a spare to replace it with. So I sort of had to say, sorry, I can't sell you mine because it's the only one I got. Yeah, I mean, oh well, I mean, what we always have to remember about companies like Apple, apart from the fact that my hands seem like a really weird color, the real problem with Apple is that they are a hardware company, you know? I mean, they are a company that makes their money from selling hardware. They have shareholders. Those shareholders, everything I'm doing here, disclaimer, danger, high voltage, be careful, don't do this unless you know what you're doing. Bang, disclaimer, over and done with. Yeah, I mean, Apple answer to shareholders. They want to make lots and lots of money. Excuse me. And so, you know, if you come up to the shareholders and say, guess what, I've figured out a way that forces people into buying new computers every certain amount of years, because we're just going to stop supporting their computers when we bring out new operating systems. And they'll have to buy new operating systems, you know, get new operating systems, otherwise they won't be able to browse the web anymore. Haven't we figured this out well? So, yeah. What we need to, sorry, Siri thought I was talking to her and I wasn't. Pardon me. Oh. Oh, COVID. Right, now, let's just make sure that I've got everything disconnected here. Anyone who's watching this and thinks, oh, look, you know, you're just doing this stuff and you're not telling me what you're doing. I have a video called Removing the Analog Board of a Macintosh Color Classic on my YouTube channel. So if you want to know how to do this with all sorts of close-ups and detail and fanciness and things and such, it's there. Okay, so here is the analog board. This is what we're going to be massacring today to turn this into a Mystic. I'll just put that over there. I'll move this down here and I'll make old man noises when I do it. It's just very difficult for me these days. I'm just getting so old. Yes. Okay. Well. Right. Oh, it was a great video. Thank you for saying so. It was just one of those things where, you know, we all know how to take out the logic board of a classic. Just pull it out the back, nice and easy. But then I was having so many people starting to have problems with their classics, you know, with problems with the screen and all sorts of stuff like that. And it's like, well, you know, people are going to have to start sending me their analog board. So if I can send them a video on how to remove it safely, then it works better for me.
because they can just send me the board without having to send me the whole computer. Okay. Ta-da! So this is the same board that I recapped relatively recently, and as you can see, here's the white snot that I put on. It's now all dried and looking nice and squishy. So that's just holding these capacitors in there. It's the celastic I referred to. This is the word that for some people, not all people, for some people, they have trouble remembering that word. I was one of those people once upon a time, but for some reason it's now stuck in my head. Celastic. Celastic. Silicon. Elastic. Celastic. There. So. Steve, heading off. Is he? Where? Where? I can't see. Oh, there he goes. Got to head to bed. Good luck with the modding. Thank you very much. By Steve, you can watch it tomorrow. There will be questions. Thank you very much for joining. I do appreciate it. Nate oh, is it? Sorry. I'll just call you Nate T. Thank you for joining. I know that Tronerud? I don't know. I'll probably say it wrong. I've probably said it wrong. Okay, so here we go. Analog board. You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to bring up my video on it because I can't remember how to do this off the top of my head. So anyone who does want nice fine detail on how to do a what do you call these things? A Mystic upgrade. I do have a video for that on my channel. It is one that also features one of my pussycats. Anyone who likes pussycats, they can see the cat upstaging me when I'm giving my little intro. Let me go here to my Mystic video. I don't need to watch the whole video or anything. I just need to look at the little diagrams that I have on the thing. I need to obviously do a printout for this to have down here because I can't remember all these processes. All right. Yes, right. Okay, so we'll start off with this one. This is the first thing we do is we isolate pin 8 of the transformer here. Now that is this one here. Okay, let's change views. Tronerud. Okay, Tronerud. Okay, there we go. Tronerud. Okay, yeah, all right, fair enough. I will know for next time. Let's go across to here. Because I couldn't hear the flyback because of the lower frequency refresh rate. I could hear the flyback. Okay. Isn't that funny? Okay, I ended up soft modding the OS without even changing the logic. Yeah, that's an option. It is an option. The main reason why I like to do the VGA upgrade, this is a personal thing. And this is in my video where I went in and basically explained all of the different options that were there. The reason is that I actually like the idea of the classic running at 640 by 480. For the sort of games that I like to play on the computer, in particular once it's then got the speed of an 040, I really like having 640 by 480 rather than 512 by 384. So that is, again, that is a totally personal thing. Now I need to lift this up, and it's heavy. Oh yeah, here we go. The reason I need to do that is because this is up high, and it's too high for the microscope that way. Now, can I put something underneath this? I've got a little wheel of solder there. Is that too high? That's probably too high. Let's see if we can do it. See if I can get in focus, and if I can get in focus, then I'll switch across. Yes, I can. Close enough, anyway. Look at that. Okay, so when we have a look here, we will see a cute little 7 printed on the screen, printed on the board there. Can you see that 7? It's an upside down 7. It could be an L, but it's a 7. And then here is an 8 that you can't see. 9, 10, 8, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11's not there. 11's missing in action. And then there's 12. Well, it's 8 that we're concerned about, this little guy here. Okay, and now it's fallen down. It's fallen off my solder. There we go. Stay there. Stay there. And let's focus that. Oh, man. Oh, man. That's not high enough. Ah, dear. Let's try that. There you go, it's in focus. It sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, it's terrible. Right, change. Buttery smoothness of 60 Hertz. You must have a more refined eye than I have, Jesse. And that's fine because there are lots more refined eyes out there than mine. It's my Dremel. Brum. Brum. So sorry about the noise. It felt a little Amiga, if you know what I mean. Oh, be careful. I have Amiga people that watch this. Anyone who notices that my Dremel speeds up while I'm using it? Don't know why, but it does. Okay. So, I saw someone do this recently and they posted some photos on Facebook. They were saying, I've done this Mystic upgrade, I'm having problems, blah, 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 blah. And they basically posted a photo of after they'd been doing this cutting. And they hadn't gone right through the copper. They had literally just gone through a bit of the coating and you could still see copper underneath it. And of course, the thing is that if you're not seeing that, that actual board underneath, you haven't gone far enough through. So, auto speed up Dremel, that's the one, yep. Dremels have oddities in their controllers. Well, I can certainly vouch for that one. Oddity indeed. Okay, so, as we can see, we've gone right through the board. We have clearly cut through that copper. That copper is completely cut through. Now, I want to coat that with some UV solder mask, but that takes time to dry, so I'm not necessarily going to do it now. So what I might do, just for a bit of fun, is I'll just coat it with a little bit of solder, just on those little edge bits so that they're tinned. It just means that they won't be susceptible to corrosion. Right. I generally use a bit of bit of solder wick when I'm doing just a little coating like this. It allows me to get a nice little coating of solder without leaving huge amounts. So there we go. Okay. Okay, right. So now I need to run a wire. And I need to run a wire from... Just going to bring up my little step-by-steppies. Run a wire from... Come on. Oh, I've got to sit through an ad. Oh, man, don't you hate the way these channels have advertising on them? Far out. Skip ads. No, I'm only joking. Advertising makes the world go round. Right, so I need to run a wire from pin 12 to pin 8. There we go. Oops, and I've covered up the chat, so now I can't see the chat. There we go. Right, I'm going to look here. 17 concurrent viewers. Thank you to the 17 people who are concurrently watching. Got some wire. I've got some wire of varying thicknesses, and I've just got to decide which one I should use. This one here. I think this is probably good enough. Do a little bit of wire stripping. Was anyone here watching Grudy's stream? I missed most of it, unfortunately. I was out doing Saturday morning shopping over here. I wanted to see it. For those who don't know who I'm talking about Greg Ritke from Ritke Mods, who did a stream this morning. And I saw a little bit of it, but not much of it. Do you reckon that wire's thick enough? What do you reckon? It's not very thick, is it? What about this stuff? Is it any thicker? Not any thicker. Yes, that is thicker. Look at it. Look at that. Go. We're going with that one. So we only need to run at a very short distance, literally from there to there. That watched it. Well, that's good. Did he get any computers out? Oopsie. Okay. I need this to be a bit shorter. So that's what I'm going to do, shorterize it. I just pulled a strip of wire out. I can't have that. I don't think so. Oh, that's a shame. Never mind. Next time. Oopsie. Oh, I can hear the sound of what I think is my wife about to come out and say, I'm off. I mean, not for good. She's just going shopping. Okay. There we go. All right, strip the wire. Strip the wire. The idea of repairing flyback transformers. I've watched videos of it, but it seems risky. Yeah, I'll be honest, I have not investigated that at all. I do think it's going to possibly be something we have to start dealing with at some stage, because I know certainly with some of the computers that I'm dealing with, there are just no flyback transformers available for them anymore. So, yeah, I mean, if there is a way that is not too risky, I would be interested. Yeah, we get some solder on there. There we go. There we go. You can see why it's important to have some UV solder mask on there, which I will put on later to make sure we've got a, you know, sort of a nice bit of insulation in there to make sure we're not getting anything touching. And then we've got to bring this across onto pin 12, just there. It's a little bit longer than I would like it to be. So we're going to do this. I'm going to try and do this. Hang on, I'll put some solder on it first, shall I? Then it'll be easier to snip. Snip. Sorry, that's as far as I can focus without moving the microscope again, which I do not want to do. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a real problem, and I'm having this not just with flyback transformers, I'm having it with other components as well, having trouble, you know, getting certain parts for CRTs, because they are parts designed specifically for CRTs. And, you know, no one makes CRTs anymore. Why would they? Okay. Right, bringing it down here. And that's done. So, there we go. There's a bit of focus. Now, I need my little sharp thing. Where is it? Here it is. So that I can just go chop. There we go. Okay. That part is done. There to there. Okay. Just clean this up a little bit with a bit of ISO alcohol. Ta-da. Yeah. Right. Right. Okay. Moving along. Next thing I need to do is jump across onto my little guide here once again, which isn't really a guide, it's actually a YouTube video. And I have to go isolate pin 20. Okay, that's down here at the, what do you call this thing? It's the, oh God, get out of the way. These things are cumbersome. All right, there we go. So, the connector, that's the word I was looking for. Having a bit of trouble with words today, aren't I? Get my little tweezers. 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, hang on, there's 20. 20. Isolate pin 20. Hang on, I think I might have skipped a step by accident. I feel that's interesting. This one looks different. This analog board looks different to the one that I have done in the past. What trickery is this? It is. This is different. Now, it's my understanding that I have heard of this. I guess it's a good thing that it's different because, I mean, you just don't want the same stuff all the time. So, basically, what we have down here is we've got all these pins, and there's pin 20 there. Now, on the other analog board, this comes up here and around and goes to a little resistor, which you can then remove. Now, in this instance, we don't have that. There's no resistor there. So what I'm probably going to need to do is just cut that there to isolate pin 20. Yeah. So pin 20, as I say, normally has a trace that runs up here. So yeah, this is just going to break my brain. I'm looking at the image here, and I can see that there. I can see those two there. But what we have here, which is a diode, that is not what is on the other one. There is no diode there. What you actually have there is two little jumpers, just one here and one here, and that's not here. But it is my understanding that we still just need to isolate pin 20. So in this instance, I can just cut right across there, and that will isolate pin 20. Of course, all of this stuff is reversible. If I cut something that's not meant to be cut, I can always just resolder it, I repair traces all the time. Oh, I've blocked the chat again. Two versions of the board. Yeah, I did see that as well. I remember someone saying there are two versions of the board. But the thing is, I've had so many classics sent to me. This is the first time I've ever seen this version of it.
Isolated pin 20. There we go. One isolated pin 20. I was wondering whether the other version of the board might have just been from like maybe from the US version or something like that. But okay, so isolate pin 20. Moving along. Are you going to show me another? No, okay. Isolate pin 25. Let's go to pin 25. There's pin 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 25 is a big fat one. You have to cut him right across there. Oh, we actually have to not just cut him across there, we have to cut him across there as well. He's got to be completely isolated, so I've got to cut top and bottom. Want that to be fun. Thank you very much, Jay. Yes, as Mike points out, this was one that he brought to me and said, oh, look, this has got some corrosion damage. Can you fix it? And I had a look and it was just horrendous. But while we were looking at it, we discovered that it wasn't actually a Color Classic board at all. It was an LC520, which is virtually identical to a Color Classic 2. But they never sold the Color Classic 2 here in Australia, so it's unlikely to be a Classic 2. I have worked on one before, but that was someone who imported it from Japan, I think, so. So if there's anyone doing this and thinking of doing this and thinking, oh God, you know, I don't want to wreck my Classic, you know, doing all this damage to it and everything. Remember, all we're essentially doing is cutting holes in copper. You know, if you want to join them up again, you know, a bit of solder, a bit of wire. It's not, you know, this isn't an irreversible process. Oh, pardon me, my stomach. I just want to get it a little bit more of that away. Let me just have a look. Am I content with that? Am I content? Rarely. Just want to tidy that up a tiny bit. Ah, you got the Classic 2 in Canada as well. Okay. One of the computers we got here that didn't get sold in the US was the 2VI. And I have 2 of them now. Didn't really intend to have 2 of them. So just in case anyone's thinking, oh, rare. Yeah, no, not so rare. Certainly not out here anyway. Ever thought of making a Mac like this with an external switch that enables or disables the mod? Interesting question, and yes, I have, and I would actually really like to have that for mine, because doing this mod, once you've done this mod, your classic analog board, Color Classic analog board, won't work with the original Color Classic board anymore. And I would like to be able to fire up my original Color Classic board from time to time. So, as you can see, I'm just, well, you may not be able to see, I can't really look, but I'm just tinning the little copper ends just for longevity. A step that I may not normally do on maybe my own, but I certainly do it if I'm working with a customer's board. I would normally just coat it with a bit of UV solder mask, but I think the tinning it gives it just that little bit of extra. Okay, I'm just cleaning off that alcohol, because what we now need to do, if my memory serves correctly, we need to, I think, connect, was it this one to this one or something? I'm going to check. There we go. Isolate pin 25, that's done. and then jumper pin 20 to 24. So, yep, no, no, no. So we want to go from 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. So those two there. Just an easy weasy little jump across from those two. So let's get this supported again, and let's do that. Now for this, I'm going to use slightly different wire. Stay. Thank you. I'm going to use some of this wire. This is some of this, what do you call it? Magnet wire, electromagnet wire, transformer wire. And I'm just going to put a bit of fluxaroonie on there. Get some solder onto the end of my soldering iron. My trusty soldering iron. I'm going to pop this here and I'm going to go. There we go. There's that. And then, sorry about the focus and the view and the wobble and oh my goodness. And then I'm going to spin this around here like that. Pop it there. I might just cut this. I don't need that much. There we go. I'm going to put this here. It's out of focus again. Put that there like that. A little bit more of the flux. Oh, what did I bring with me there? Oh, I've covered the chat once again. Magnet wire, yes. So, now I really should head to bed. See you, good luck. Thank you very much, Matt. Thanks for joining. I know how obscenely late it is at the moment over there. Come on. I'm needing to apply heat because this magnet wire has actually got a little coating on it. I need to melt through so that coating shows through. And then once the solder is completely wrapping around it like that, I know it's gone through. So just get a little snippety snoop there. Bing. And then I just want to neaten this one up a tiny bit with a bit more flux. There we go, just like that. Got to have good looking joints. Because if someone says, hey, this was done by Brankus, and they go, oh, look at that solder joint. Ooh. Can't have that, can I? Okay, getting that off. Now, I am going to have to duck up to the house for a moment because I just realised I don't think I have a 575 board down here. I think they're all upstairs. So I will have to go up in order to test it, but I do have to put it together first. Just check and make sure that I've done all the steps. Yep, I have done all the steps. So that is that. So what I still need to do, I'm not going to do that now because obviously I need to show people it working and I don't want them to have to sit and wait for me to do UV solder mask. So I will show it first and then I'll do UV solder mask after. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put it back together. We're going to fire it up. We are going to, let me just change the view there. We're going to have an LC575 board in it and see what it does. It probably won't boot because I think the hard drive that's in there probably got an older operating system on it. Anyhow, so all right, let's put them back together. So just having a look at this from a more widely view, there's one little modification there, and then the other little modification is down here. You can't see it, it's so tiny. Teensy weensy little modification there. There's a magnet now stuck to it.
There we go. So let's go and put this computer back together. I'll put this over there. Well, I put this. Oh, God, there's another magnet. I use magnets when I'm undoing screws, and they go back here when I'm finished with them. I didn't put it back there. Oh, there we go. Oh. For those other Australians who are watching, and possibly, I'm not sure if it's just New South Wales or whether it's all of Australia, but it's a long weekend this weekend. 3 days off, thank you. Which, of course, I'm self-employed, so that makes no difference whatsoever. I guess the only difference is that people don't ring me up. People don't ring me up on public holidays, so I won't get any phone calls, so that's nice. I hate getting telephone calls. I cannot begin to tell you how much I despise being phoned. I like people to email me, but they like to phone me. And I'll tell you why. I mean, if you think about telephones in terms of... imagine a telephone was a person. Imagine you are standing having a conversation with something, or you're doing something, or you're right in the middle of something, and they walk up to you and they just start talking. It would just be considered horrendously rude. It'd be just like, children do that. You know what I mean? It's like once you're an adult, you learn you have to wait. You have to wait for a pause. You have to wait till the person's finished their topic of discussion or whatever the case may be, and then you talk. Telephone, on the other hand, it just rings. Just rings. All of a sudden, it becomes the most important thing in the room. It's like, you're in the middle of something, but you're expected to answer that phone at the time that it rings. It doesn't matter what you're up to, where, what you're doing. And I just find that really annoying. So I mean, unless I'm actually doing nothing, or if it's someone I really want to talk to, a lot of the time I just let it go to voicemail. I don't know, mate. Call me weird. Call me weird. Okay. Got a wire caught in the place where it's not supposed to be. There we go. Slide this back. There we go. So we connect up the speaker here. No, we're not connecting up a webcam. Yeah, I mean, the advantage of an email is that it can come in and then you can answer it when you have time. So, if you're in the middle of doing a job, an email comes in. Okay, no worries. The emails come in. I can choose not to read it. I can just start reading it later. And it's the same with this live chat stuff now. I mean, my wife has recently started using, live chat stuff with work, because she's working from home with the whole COVID thing going on. But again, live chat suddenly becomes, it's going constantly. And people aren't just sending, people start sending memes and stuff through them. It's like, this is work. Why are you sending me this? Okay, this is going on the back here. I can hear a chicken. Hello, Bernadette. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Speak up. Okay, a couple of things I can tell you about doing the this change for the first time is it goes and messes with a whole bunch of the voltages and stuff like that. And as a result, the screen geometry is usually totally out of whack after this has been done. So after you've done a Mystic upgrade, just, expect the screen to be wrong color, wrong shape, wrong size, everything. So, yeah. Phone calls are for Karens. This is a really weird thing. My wife was talking to me yesterday or today about Karens, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And she went and explained it to me, what Karens were. And then it gets mentioned here in the live chat. How about that? Tom Barber, hello. Have I said hello to you already? I don't recall. Right. Can you swap a Mac Classic Logic board into a Classic 2 housing analog board and vice versa? The answer to that is yes, you can. I have the same pinouts on the little plug. I've got one here actually. I was working on that before. So this is a classic board here, and
essentially, when you're connecting it up to the computer, what's important is this, and these are the same. Those pins are the same from a Classic to a Classic 2. So yes, you can do that. Where it's an issue, I think, is just this guy here. I can't remember if the chassis has the same size hole. So if you were connecting, because obviously with an original Classic, this has 1 megabyte on board, and then there's a card you put in which has 1 megabyte on it as well, and it also has 2 slots that allows you to stick another 2 ones in. So you can take this original 1 megabyte up to 4 megabytes by using that card. And I can't remember whether that hole is in the same position in that chassis, so for connecting up the RAM. But in terms of just plugging it in and powering it up and all that sort of stuff, yes, these pins are the same, so you can actually use this board. They're interchangeable in the Classic or Classic 2. Unless someone pipes up and tells me otherwise, I'm pretty sure that that is the case. So that is that. And the analog boards are almost identical as well, to be honest. Okay. Now what's this? I recap my Classic 2 logic board and analog board, but it's not booting. So I want to swap them. Okay. When you say it's not booting, is it just totally dead? Or is it, starting up, fans spinning, that sort of thing, but just not chiming? Are you getting weird images on the display, that sort of thing? Yeah, I can show you. I don't know if it's still in here, but somewhere in here I have a Mac Plus battery holder. Here it is, Mac Plus battery holder, and I mean, look at that. It's from this part of the metal here is just completely snapped off. So yeah, that's a shocker. Quick question for you, Oz RetroComp. What do you do about replacement batteries for the Macintosh Plus? I'd be very interested to hear what you have to say. Nigel Rhodes, over CRT with vertical collapse. That will be attempting to fix in the next few weeks. Not too big a job from what I gather, but I've not worked on CRTs too much. Good luck with that. As I was saying at the beginning of my stream, I hate working on CRTs. I really do. Remove logic board fan spins with logic board in it. Clicking sound. Okay. That's interesting. Clicking sound, yeah. Did you have to wear glasses because of the CRT screen? I don't really. It's a prudent thing to do to wear some protective glasses when. Oh, are you talking about wear glasses from staring at CRT screens? Probably not specifically CRTs. It's mainly focusing on the same distance all the time. And so I've got astigmatism in my eyes. Now they're just getting old. Now I really can't blame computers at all for what's happening to my eyes. It's just I'm getting old. And that's just something that happens when you get old. Analog board may be a bad solid joint or something. Yes, I mean, it could be. I mean, when you recapped the analog board, I assume you did that little cluster of bad caps down in the bottom that tends to leak. I know that I had one where the leakage was so bad that it had actually corroded that board quite a bit. Spent quite a lot of time having to go in and fix up a lot of corroded copper on the board, sort of to make proper contact again. It was a real headache. It's just the capacitors had just done so much damage to the board. Kind of high-pitched click. Interesting. I like the microphone set in front of the screen. It's about to ask you the question. Yeah, this is my backup microphone. This is in case the battery goes flat in my little wireless thing. But it does actually work. I can switch this on and go tappity tap tap tap. But yeah, so I can just switch this on should my lapel mic battery go flat, or if it's just sort of a bit of a backup in case I was using it a long time. That is a Rode microphone, just in case anyone is interested in audio equipment. It is a Rode, what is it? M2 microphone. Very, very good microphone. Rode make great stuff. Australian company. Yeah, I have that running through a little, what is this thing? It's called Euphoria UM2. that allows me to turn an XLR microphone a signal into a USB audio signal that I can just capture straight into OBS for streaming and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's, I have quite a lot of microphones because I used to do a fair bit of video production work. So remove the cluster of bad caps, clean up all the leaking caps on both sides. Yeah, okay, yep. Remove some of the solder mask on the other side of the board due to corrosion traces. Yeah, so that in that general region, let's see if I can find one. I can just point you in the direction where I had trouble with mine, where I was having clicking and stuff like that happening as well. Here we go. I didn't have to look far. See, this is the advantage of never putting anything away. Everything's right in front of you. So, well, there we go. Okay, yes, so pretty much all of my microphones are Rode. What am I saying? Pretty much all of my microphones are Rode. I have a shotgun mic, I have that mic, I have 2 lapel mics, I have a little, I've got a Rode Podcaster, which is a USB sort of condenser mic. That thing is awesome. The quality on that thing is just spectacular. I've got a little one that connects to your phone. So it allows you to get really good audio if you're recording stuff on your phone. So anyhow, this here is a Macintosh Classic or Classic 2 analog board. And look at this, the way they manufacture these. They manufacture them in one piece and then they snap that off. How cool is that? I like that. Now, the area where, on the one I was working on, where there were huge amounts of issues and stuff, was all around this region here. So this is where we've got, that's the transformer there. So it was just all around this region here, and I ended up having some of these little solder blobs here. They'd actually popped off, so they'd actually lifted up off the surface. So even though they looked like they were part of the continuous copper, they weren't actually making contact with the copper that they were originally part of. They'd, actually completely corroded through. So I had to then, set up some wires where I was actually joining them to other things that were on the same plane of copper. So just, yeah, this is the area. It's on the other side of that little cluster of caps, but it's that general area that I had to look, and I just had to go, around looking really, really closely at all these joints. And as they, some of those had actually lifted off and they weren't making proper connection anymore. So that's that. Oh, yeah. And just, I've been having discussions with people on Facebook about this here. This is a 63 ohm 0.25 watt speaker, and they seem to be unprocurable. So when those speakers go, you have to find something else, because 63 ohm 0.25 watt, you can go with a higher wattage, but generally you're supposed to keep the impedance the same, that ohm rating. So yeah, the closest I've found is a 50 ohm speaker. So anyhow, all right. So now I have been waffling now for a while, and I haven't actually switched this on, and I did promise that I would switch it on, so I better go and do that. But I do need to go up to the house to get an LC575 board. So if you would all please just wait patiently, you can gaze at this gorgeous color classic. And I shall be back in just a moment, switching my sound off so that you don't get to hear me walking through the house. Back in a sec. Yes, welcome back. Okay, sorry, I'm stepping over the back of this
Okay, does everyone keep themselves entertained while I was gone? Oh, lint in the charging port. Oh, I'm glad that was of use. It was interesting because I posted that one, you know, sort of a while ago, and I don't think it's actually had that many views, to be honest. But it was just, it was something that, you know, caught me out, and then I was able to fix it, I've still got that same phone, so yeah. I should actually leave some songs running in the background. I'd probably have all sorts of copyright issues, but you know, what are you going to do? Oh yes, chicken cam. That's right. While I was away, the chicken just came in. It was a little bit later in the day. She was actually wanting to settle herself onto the microscope. She's not allowed on the microscope. I don't let her there because, for obvious reasons, you don't actually want chickens on your workbench. You know, sort of if I leave the shed open, which I don't, I have to shut it, you know, for that reason. If I leave the shed open, she will, and it's dark, it's just starting to get dark, she wants to come in here and hang out. This here, LC575 board. This little void here is where a little 4.5 volt battery would sit. For anyone who has been trying to find replacements for those, I wouldn't even bother. What I generally do is I've got some here, I think. Is this one? Yeah, I think this is one. Yeah. I get one of these 3 AAA batteries, and that gives you a total of 4.5 volts. And then you just connect those to the little connector that connects onto here so that you can then power it from those. What I would recommend if you are going to do that though is buy lithium batteries. They will last longer, less likely to cause leakage on your board soon. But of course, always remember with any battery, you know, if you're going to put it away for storage, take the battery out. And you can always stick a little bit of Velcro fluff on the back of this if you want to try and stick it there. I know they don't fit in here beautifully. I mean, like that. But you know, trying to find those little square 4.5 volt batteries, I haven't been able to find them anywhere. There might be somewhere, but you know. Who was I asking before about Mac Plus batteries? I was asking someone about Mac Plus batteries. Was there an answer? I'm not sure. Here we go. Yeah. There is an answer. Here we go. Good question. My Mac Plus is only the second Mac I've ever played with, and my first Mac Plus is the 4.5 volt Energizer battery still available? No, it's not. There is, you can buy those batteries, A21X or something, I can't remember. I've got one floating around here somewhere. Remember my mantra, don't put anything away, then you find it. No. I've got a fair idea where it is, but I'm not going to, it'll be too much work to go get it. Those batteries, those 4.5 volt batteries are quite hard to find. You can buy them, I think, from Amazon, but they're really expensive when you take shipping into account, certainly to Australia. Now, what I have done to get around that, and I'm going to do this in a live stream one day, maybe even today, you never know, but I'm going to do a video of it. I get these little AA battery holders that look, I've got some around here. Here we are. They look like this. Now, basically what's happened is that some people are buying so many AAA batteries, but then they've got a few devices that work on AA batteries, and rather than having to buy AA's and AAA's, they buy these. And what you can do is you can put a AAA battery in that to make it fit into a AA battery spot. Now, those 4.5 volt batteries for the Mac Plus, not the square ones for the LC575, they are about the same size as a AA, so these do fit in there. So what I actually do is I get these, they open up like that, and I put inside the bottom 3 LR44 1.5 volt alkaline batteries. When you put the 3 of them together, you end up with sort of, what is it, 4.5 volts, and then I get a little spring, which I can't find here, but I get a little spring, something like, opening, little spring something like that. And then I put that inside here with the little LR44 batteries at the bottom and the spring at the top, and that makes contact with a little pin at the top, and that gives me my 4.5 volts battery. And all up, the parts, I mean, admittedly I buy them in fairly large quantities, but all up the parts cost about $1.30 or something like that. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like with the 3 batteries and the holder and the spring, I mean, it is literally just a few dollars. The only trick with it is that the LR44s really don't fit in here very well. They're just a smidge too big. So what I do is I get this base part and I put it in the oven at about, I think it's about 120 degrees C, thereabouts, maybe a bit under. And I heat it till this is just a little bit soft, but not actually changing shape yet. And then I push the batteries into them. And the only other thing that needs to be done is that because those batteries are fitting in there so tightly, you end up with an air pocket between each battery. So I drill a little hole like 6 millimeters apart. 6 millimeters there and then 12 millimeters there, and I drill those little holes. That allows the air to escape as I'm pushing the batteries in. I will demonstrate the process because I've done it a few times. It works. It gives me a 4.5 volt battery. Doesn't last as long as the original because obviously it's a fraction of the size, but it does work. Those batteries will probably happily last, if you're not using the computer at all, so you just, you know, the battery's just providing power to the clock the whole time, you're probably going to get, maybe 2 years out of them, something like that. So it doesn't need to be a 3 millimeter hole. The hole I drill is like the smallest drill bit you've got, basically 1 millimeter, fine. You can even, you know what you can even do if you don't want to drill it? You can just get like a needle and heat it up with a lighter till it's hot enough to melt a hole through the plastic. You can even do that. But yeah, I mean, I generally drill with like about a 1 millimeter drill bit, and I just do it with a handheld drill, not even a powered one, not a Dremel or anything like that. I do it with here we are, it's right here. Do it with one of these guys. So you know, just drill it through. I might even do one. Yeah, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how we go for time. What time is it? How long have I been streaming? For goodness sake. Nearly a couple of hours. All right, so I think everyone has waited long enough for this. This is the LC575 board. We have two 256 kilobyte VRAM SIMs in here, and we have one RAM DIMM, not a SIM, it's a DIMM, which means dual inline memory module. And that's basically, I think that's either a 16 or a 32, I'm not sure, we'll see. And this has been recapped as far as I can ascertain. I don't know who did it, but it's tidy work, but it wasn't me. Oh, it might have been me, but I don't think it was me. I need to start sticking stickers on things, don't I? I record all the serial numbers of the stuff that I work on these days, so I would know that. I would be able to look that up these days, but in the early days, I was doing so few, I wasn't, you know, keeping super duper records and that sort of stuff. So, but anyhow, this is, you know, I mean, I'm quite happy to accept that there are other people that do nice recapping jobs as well. I don't have to have the corner of the market on that. So this, in theory, should just be a plug and play ready to go. So, shall we see what happens? I'm going to put this in. I'm going to move this mouse out of the way so I don't accidentally end the stream. Oopsie, and I'll knock the microphone over. How about that? In she goes. It's just cool the way they're the same size, isn't it? Right. If I can move this forward a little bit, I might get the whole screen in. The camera's not currently in sync with the refresh rate of this, so it's going to flicker like crazy. Get me some power. I don't even know if this is plugged in at the moment. I think I might have unplugged it for something else recently, so this may not even power up. We'll just see. That powered up. Right. Need a keyboard. One of these things. Keyboard. This is my super dirty one, which I must clean one day. I'm going to plug this in and see what happens. Now, of course, keep in mind, it may not even work. I do make mistakes.
You ready? You ready? Huh? Huh? Okay, so you can hear a Connor hard drive going click, 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 click. Waiting for the display to warm up. I can hear it. I can hear that. The hard drive is spinning up. It's going. And what did I tell you about the geometry? This is what happens when you go from 512 by 384 to 640 by 480. That happens. Okay, well, the process of adjusting this CRT, I may end up doing a video of that from start to finish. There is actually an Apple, just checking to make sure there's nothing personal there. It's not my computer, nothing personal there. There is actually an Apple manual for a Color Classic that goes through and explains the whole process of adjusting the CRT from start to finish. This includes if you're actually wanting to adjust the things like the color. And I'm probably going to go through that, but I generally don't do that down here. I usually do it up in the main house because it's just a little bit easier. Got a little bit more space. I can get up nice and close to it and all that sort of stuff. So I see nothing wrong with that geometry. No, nothing wrong with it. But anyhow, look, here it is. Let me just go up to about this Mac if I can. I will at least move it sideways so we can at least see. We can see it. I can't remember. I've got a little image here. There's all of these little things here. What do you call those things? Oh, I've been mentioned in Facebook. Oh, look at all these people mentioning me. Dear, oh dear. Fame, eh? Right, so bear with me just a minute. I am going to just bring up a photo. Along the back here, there are all these little potentiometers that allow you to adjust the geometry. Now, the problem with them is that they are just labeled with 2 characters. And some of those 2 characters are fairly self-explanatory to what they are. Others are not so self-explanatory. So I am going to just look, and I've got a little guide. I'm going to make a better one. I'm going to make one that is up to the Brenkus standard and put it on my Facebook or my website at some stage, recapamac.com, recapamac.com.au, either one you prefer. They will both get you there. So just hunting. Sorry for this while I look. I found it. Okay, so what I'm looking for, whoopsie. I'm looking for horizontal, vertical. I'm looking for horizontal center. That's HS. That's not how center is spelt, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right, got some adjustment tools here. These are made out of plastic. They're not so much of an issue when you're working with this because these are just little potentiometers. The main reason why you use plastic tools like this for adjusting CRTs is sometimes you have to put the adjustment tool into a little ferrite core and twist the ferrite core. If you use a metal tool, it changes the density of that ferrite and you end up making adjustments by just putting the tool in it in the first place. So you need to use plastic tools for those sorts of adjustments. As I say, not so much an issue with these more modern devices that have our little potentiometers. But anyhow, let's go to HS that I can't see because I've got old eyes. And put this in here. Okay, there we go. That'll do. That's enough for me to at least go in here and go up to about this Macintosh and see, oh, it's not even telling me what it is because it's System 7.5. If I was using an older operating system, it would come up and tell me it was an LC575, but yeah. None of that joy today, I'm afraid, but it does tell me I've got 36 megs, which means that RAM sim was a 32 because there's 4 megabytes on board. So, Am I too late? Why must YouTube notifications be in the gutter? I know. It is one of the common complaints, and I don't even know if it has something to do with time zones or something like that. Where do you buy plastic CRT tools? If you look at, I think I bought mine probably from eBay, but I think Amazon sell them as well. And what you want to search for is TV adjustment tools, because that's, I think, how mine were listed. They're actually listed as like television adjustment tools, and they just, they're little kind of little hex tools and stuff like that. And they're just really handy things to have. I ended up buying two because I know that there's sorts of things that I always lose. I mean, I've got a third set somewhere, but I've lost it. So I bought two, so that I keep one down here in the shed and one up in the house. So, sorry, I keep calling this the shed. This is the studio. It's been made up to look like a shed, but it's actually a studio. Cost a lot of money to make it look like a shed. Okay, so let's shut this down. Shut down. Switch him off. The Classic, of course, is unbelievably collectible. I do so many Classic recaps because there are just so many people out there that want a Classic these days. I have lots of good things to say about Classics, but I have lots of bad things to say about them as well. They're a pretty stupid computer, really, in many ways. Very novelty sort of based type thing. And in the days when you would have spent over $1,000 on a computer like this, I would just be like, no way, that's just stupid. But when you can pick one up these days, if you're lucky, with the right bargain out there, you can pick one of these up for, sort of, I don't know, 100, couple of hundred, depending. I paid, I think, 200 or 250 for mine a while ago. I think I paid too much for it at the time, but I know that they're probably getting more expensive now as we go. But to be able to pick one up for that price, it's a nice little novelty value, I think, with these. I think they're quite cute, good fun. Dana, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for joining. Wrong end of the stream. That's what snoozing on the couch gets me. Well, it is fair enough. I mean, I know that, I know that sort of when I stream, I am in different time zones around the world, and I don't, when is the best time for me to stream? I don't know. Early in the morning, late at night? I don't know. I'm just I'm experimenting with different times of the day. I do plan to do some late night streams at some stage. That might be better for some other people. But so I have to pull this all apart again so that I can put some UV solder mask onto those little cuts that I made just to just protect those. But basically this one has been mystified. It is now a mystic. So isn't that fun? Right. Okay. I regret not picking one up in the mid-2000s when they were cheaper. Yeah. I mean, you could say that. You can say that sort of stuff all the time when it comes to collectible stuff. I mean, I regret not hanging on to a lot of stuff. I regret not asking my boss for more computers. So a lot of the time, the company that I work for, when I would, they retired computers, I would ask if I could have them. And most of the time they just said, yeah, sure, take them home. I came home once with a car bootload trunk. I say boot, we say boot in Australia, trunk in America. Full of power computing, Motorola, Daystar clones. Just stacks of them and cards, CPU daughter cards and stuff like that. And keyboards and you name it. So anyhow, that was... where are we? Picked mine up from the roadside in 2006. Now that is lucky. I've never found anything decent on the roadside, ever. Spider sensors. That's what you need. They're better. Certainly work better than YouTube notifications these days. I saw a parts or repair SE30 sell on eBay a couple of weeks back for $325. Yeah. Now, sometimes SE30s are a bit weird. I mean, for instance, and it wasn't that much money, but the person who owns this Mac, he bought an SE30 a while ago, and he actually paid, I think, a pretty good price. But it was one that was kind of like let's take a chance on it, because it had a port on the back for a display card. And it's like, oh, does this have a display card in it? Because sometimes those display cards are worth more than the Macs themselves. Unfortunately, it was only the port. It didn't have the display card inside, which is a real shame. But yeah, I mean, I think 325 for a not working is a bit steep. I think when it came to an SE30 for me, knowing that there is the potential that they are unrepairable from either battery damage or capacitor corrosion, to have one as not working, I don't think I would want to pay more than probably about $80, because I just think the risk is too great of you essentially just walking away with a case. But if it was a working one, SE30, again, it comes down to me, what I would be prepared to pay. I'd be prepared to wait if I was after one. I've got one, so I'm not after one. But if I was after one, I don't think I'd want to pay more than a couple of $100 for one working. So, a bunch of mice and keyboards and nothing computer auction last year in Melbourne because I had so many machines without mice. Yeah, this often happens so many times when people sell computers, they sell them without the mouse and keyboard. And this is the same as when I used to buy laptops. You know, I'd buy, you know, sort of, Mac, sort of MacBooks and MacBook Pros and stuff like that. And I would buy them for cheap and not working. And no one ever sells them with the power supply. So when I would fix them and then I'd have to resell them, I'd have to go buy a power supply as well, because the little MagSafe bricks, people just never ever include them when they're selling a broken laptop. So anyhow, excuse me. Yeah, oh, Deck Alpha, wow. God, we used to have one of those at the company I worked at. I've forgotten about that thing. Running, well, Windows NT, I think it was. Okay, my Color Classic came with an optical mouse. Honeybee brand, very weird. Oh wow, that is interesting. An optical mouse, an ADB optical mouse. Huh. If I haven't said to you, Mr. Crim, hello to you, Mr. Crimstar. Hello, Mr. Crimstar. So it was a freebie from a friend about 12 years back. I was half. It didn't work. Oh, okay. Resolder and reverse the analog board working. Excellent. That's good. Good. Getting old software and archiving on the Mac Garden. Getting old software and archiving on the Mac Garden. That's awesome. That is great. You're doing the world a service. I get frustrated by people charging a lot for old stuff just because that's the price they think it's worth. Let the market decide. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to people selling these old things, if they don't know what they're worth, put them on an auction on eBay. Try and tell as many people as you can. Put them up on the Facebook groups, and let them know that it's there. Let the market decide what it's worth. Don't don't go, oh, this is vintage. This has got to be worth hundreds. I'm going to put this on for $1,000. What ends up happening is people end up looking at it and thinking, $1,000? Is that what they're going for? All of a sudden they start trying to sell their own one so they can make a mozza, but because they don't, because they're not actually worth that. Just because someone lists it at that price doesn't mean someone's prepared to pay that. As I say, if you want to find out what something's worth, put something up for auction, let the market decide. Well, the chat's going crazy at the moment. I'm not going to get anything done, am I? Rare Steve Jobs signed Macintosh. Steve Jobs licked this. Okay. Right, I better do some stuff, hadn't I? Because I can't just sit here reading chat. It's like, how does that become interesting? So now, I appreciate that some people might be just thinking, God, when's this stream going to end so that I can just go to bed? And other people might be going, hey, I want more. So I do have more things to do. And I am happy. Oh, God, that was stupid of me, wasn't it? When I pulled out that classic analog board before, I put it on the spot that I was resting this classic before. So I've now got to move that. Put that there. So that I can then rest this classic, rest its weary bones on there. Oh, far out. Oh, so heavy. Okay. When is the stream going to end?
Right, okay, so let's have a look here at some of the backlog. I should really look at my job tickets first, shouldn't I? Because there could be something there that I can be doing that might be of interest and actually make me some money. There we go. There it is. So, recapping. I tell you what I want to have a look at. I want to have a look at a 17-inch MacBook Pro. How do people feel about that? I know it's not vintage, it's a little bit more modern, but it's something that I'm actually interested to look at because of the symptoms described. And Jay's still on the stream, he can help me. Okay, so just going to do this. Callum Snedker, hello, thank you for joining. We have been going for quite some time, but you arrived at the perfect time because I've just finished a project and I'm about to start a new one. So actually it's not quite the perfect time because in order for me to start this project, I have to go up and get it from the house, which means that I'm going to actually disappear from the stream for a few seconds. And so from that, in that regard, you're going to feel like I just arrived here and he just left. It's not because of you, I'm just going to get a computer from up in the house. So bear with me, folks. I will be back in a couple of minutes. I'm going to go grab this 17-inch MacBook Pro, and we're going to have a little look. Back soon. Better turn the sound off. Ta-da! Okay, no, actually, it is round about the time that Chicken would find her way in here, so lucky she didn't. So I've got myself here a 17-inch MacBook Pro. Now I happen to love these. I've got one of these myself. This is a 2010. I don't know what mine is. Mine's a 2010 or 2000. No, I'm not sure. But anyhow, I happen to love these. I love the 17-inch MacBook Pros because of the size of the screen. When you're sitting in front of them, if you're working remotely somewhere, you sit down and open up the screen. It's like, whoa, you know. And then if you get Duet running on it as well, have your iPad, because I've had some times where I've gone on holidays and I've ended up having to work the Pel mic out of range, make some wacky noises. I did hear that. I watched one of my streams back recently, and I noticed it does little popping noises or something like that. So yeah, I went on holidays once, and I had to do some work because I'm self-employed, so you know, there's never really holidays. You say to people, I'm going away, and then next thing you know, you just get phone calls from people, and that's fair enough. They don't care. And so I had to set up my big 17-inch with, I had my little iPad working as a second screen and did some work and I had to do some EDMs, you know, emails for broadcasts and stuff like that. It was great. It worked really well. I love these 17-inch screens. It's a shame Apple don't make a 17 anymore. I know they make a 16, but in my opinion, that's just 1 inch short of perfection. So let's get some of these screws off. I've got a few missing case screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 missing case screws, 5 missing case screws. Not to worry. Let's get a more appropriate view for this. I'm putting on my Rossmann hat today. I've got one of these little things here that I keep the screws in so that I don't forget anything. Da-da-da-da.
nothing 17 Powerbook G4 to fix that I haven't picked up yet because of COVID. Ah, well, I've actually got myself a 17-inch Powerbook G4. I got given one by someone. I did a repair for them. I helped them repair their modern computer, and they said they've got this old one. Did I want it? Because they knew I was interested in older computers. I said, yeah, I'll grab that. So I've got one of those great big old 17-inch G4s, which is it's a fun little thing to have. I'm actually going to do a video stream at some stage in the not too distant future of my laptop collection because it's fairly extensive. Okay, all right. What do we see here? We see 4 gigabytes, and there's probably another 4 underneath it, which would give us 8. Yes, so this has got 8 gigabytes of RAM in it. This has been upgraded to an SSD. That's it there. It's not held in properly. Fair enough. Okay, no screws. I think I might have some spare ones around, so I can at least mount this in properly. Now, what I want to do with this first is I want to connect some power to it. Get in there, thing. Photoshop up a 17-inch pismo. That would be awesome. All right. So what I need to have a look at here, first of all, is I need to connect up some power to it and see how it behaves. Now, one of the big problems I have here, one of the medium-sized problems I have here, is the fact that with my power supply here, I can only output like about 16 volts through this. This thing here limits any more power coming through it than 16 volts because this is one of these replacement cables that's not taken off an actual genuine MagSafe device. And these replacement cables are always the ones that only output 16 volts. Even if you send 18 volts to them, they still only output 16 volts. The only way I can get 18 volts is with the genuine charger, which I do have here, but I would like to see what happens when I connect it up to this first. Let's get up to... Take it up to 18 just for fun. Okay, so there's the little thing. There it is, it's on this side. Let's plug some power in. That's a friggin' MagSafe too. Everything comes down. Look at this. What a mess. I need a bigger workshop with more shelves. One day. Okay. Right. I'm just checking. Yes, good. There we go. MagSafe 1. MagSafe 1. Much better. Let's connect that up and see what happens. Oh, got a green light. And green light, green light, green light. It's not going to orange, but it's green. Oh, it's just gone orange, so that's good. I bet you, can I just say something here? And I bet you if I just press the power button as it starts, because that's what happens when you send things to get repaired. No, it did not. It did not start. But let's check and see if the problem is associated with the keyboard, perhaps, because there is a little thing I can short on this board somewhere. Does anyone remember where it is? That will allow me to start this up without a keyboard. I can't remember where it is, though. I remember where it is on the older ones. Is it up around here somewhere? I need my glasses. Not quite putting my Rossmann hat on, given the fact that I don't know where these little things are. Where did I put my glasses? Not the ones that are on my head. I know where they are. They're on my head. I'm talking about the glasses that magnify my vision 3 times. What model is that? It's a 2010. Yes, that's correct. So you're going to help me, Jay. You're going to tell me where those little pins are that short out. That make me switch it on. There we go. Yoink. I mean, if I see them, I'll recognise them. See a little bit of corrosion on the board there. Nothing horrendous though. Nothing heinous. Yeah. Okay. May as well look at what I'm looking at here. Texted it to you. Ah, Jay, you're a bloody champion. Yep, just here. And it's even labelled. You see what I was saying before about things not being labelled? It's labelled. See? Power button. I shall pousser le bouton. Dead. No fan spin. Okay, so the problems that we have are greater than originally thought. Well, actually, I didn't think anything about problems we had, so it's not really. One of the first things I would generally do with this is disconnect all of the peripherals. Actually, you know what I need to do? I do need to make sure I've got the full power connected up. I made this mistake once before where I was working on something and I'm like, you know, oh, this thing's not working, and it was simply because I wasn't running a full 18 volts to the thing. So this one here is a proper 18 volt charger, and assuming it's plugged in, that's good. So now let's try that power button again. Oh, that was interesting. Oh, there we go. Fan spin. Okay, so what we now need to look at. Did you see the fan spin? Were you able to see the fan spin on the camera? It didn't chime, but there are a lot of reasons why it may not have chimed. I've got backlight. It's a white screen. Oh, and I've got a flashing question mark. So flashing question mark, so it's not reading anything from the drive. But having said that, I don't even know if there's something on this drive. What have I got here? These are my OSs. Hello, OSs. 2010, what do you reckon the best for that is? Shall we do an El Capitan? Let's do an El Capitan. Bootable 10.10. Let's try that. In she goes. Booting. I can show you this because there's nothing private on this. This is my OS. This is just a plain blank OS. So we can see it is actually starting up there. So that's nice. This does give you an indication of how many Macs that I used to work with in the olden days. And when I talk about sort of more modern Macs. Ubuntu. I've actually got Ubuntu, I think, running on one of my Macs, running as a little web server. Sorry, this is going to take a while because it's starting off the USB, and these are only USB 2, so you know, a bit on the slow side. But anyhow, look, this is a good sign. So here are the symptoms I can tell you. Customer replaced hard drive with an SSD. Cool, nothing wrong with that. After replacing said SSD, they couldn't get the computer to shut down. Wrong system. Off. they couldn't get the computer to shut down. No, nor can I. I'm holding down the power button here. It's not shutting down. So that's interesting, isn't it? Yes. Look away for 2 seconds and he fixed it. Not quite. But I just tried starting up with 10.10 and it's clearly not working. Which one's 10.10? Can someone remind me? Sierra, Western High Sierra, Mojave, Snow Leopard, 9. These are all installers. I want something bootable. I would have thought it would have booted into 10.10, but I guess I'm wrong. Sierra. Oh, maybe I've gone too high. These are old. Yeah. These are old. What am I doing? Bootable 10.8. How about that? Whoops. .10 Vegemite. Okay. I think I might have put in 2 new systems, so. You gonna boot? Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, you're gonna boot. Try 10.6. Well, I've put 10.8 on. What's that one again? Remind me, please. 10.6 is Snow Leopard, I know that, I think. I always forget the numbers in comparison to the letters. Sea lion. Mountain lion. What's everyone's least favorite OS 10 operating system, apart from original 10, because we know that was still finding its footing. If we start looking at, sort of the newer ones, what's everyone's least favorite OS 10? Can new OSs be forced to run on older machines? There isn't really a reason why it can't run. Well, one of the reasons is often, backwards compatible support for older CPUs and stuff like that. They just remove it. So, are you starting? It seems to be very slow, doesn't it? For example, if we look at the latest one, which is Catalina, Catalina no longer supports 32-bit CPUs. So any older, mind you, these have all been 64 for donkey's years, haven't they? Anyhow, run up to 10.13. Okay, there could well be something wrong with my discs here. I mean, these are old. Oh, chicken's coming to bed. And we're going to see chicken cam in a moment. I feel like this isn't doing anything, so I'm going to do this again. Let's try something older, shall we? I didn't try 10.9, did I? Grubby MagSafe. Hello, Bernadette. Excuse me. I am going to have to address this situation because... Oh, hello. Is that a giant chicken? There we go. Start it up. Please excuse me while I kiss the sky. No, while I put this chicken to bed. Come on. You going to come and say hello to your fans first? There we go. Say hello, Bernadette. Oh.
That is one of the reasons why chickens and workshops do not mix. Okay, excuse me for a minute. I'm going to go put this chicken to bed, and I'll be right back. I better mute this, hadn't I? You let those chickens run your life, man. Okay. Whew. There we go. Hello, everyone. Whee! Look at that. I should have left it so you could actually see it starting up, shouldn't I? Now, I have got a trackpad. Computer's clock is set wrong. I accept that. Look at that big old screen. I've got no clickety click. I've got no tappity tap. I don't know if it's frozen. I do have my suspicions with this that there is probably something wrong with the trackpad, and because if I remember rightly, the keyboard plugs into the trackpad and the trackpad plugs into the motherboard, something like that. So I've got a sneaking suspicion that is it, and might need a new trackpad. But I just want to see the time click over. It's currently saying 11:03. I want to see it go over to 11:04, so I know the computer hasn't just frozen up. External mouse. Good question. Do I have one? Actually, external keyboard. I've got external keyboard here. All these thinking people watching the stream. Oh, it's gone to 11:04, so that's something. It's not working with this keyboard at all. It's not powering it. There's something wrong with USB. Interesting. Let's try mousey. Oh, look at that. Your keyboard cannot be identified. Now, is it the keyboard it's referring to or the mousey? I do believe we have problems. It's the mouse that it's actually having trouble identifying.
Mavericks as a test OS living on the edge. It's not ideal, but is this Mavericks? Yeah, I think it is Mavericks. I virtually haven't used Mavericks at all. Okay, so let me just think very quickly here, because I have one of these brain things. What I'm going to do, I'm going to connect this up again. I'm going to run the Apple Testy thing if I can. Apple Service Diagnostics, ASD. Okay, there we go. Keyboard's back into the right computer. ASD is going to be a little bit dull to watch. I mean, look, I can have a look at this. I can just have a glance under the microscope, see if anything looks untoward. I can probably. Oh, I need to get this under here. Come on, come on. The biggest problem I have is that I just can't. I can't get any response from anything. So I can't connect the Bluetooth mouse because I can't go in and select it and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to just have a quick little browse around the board, see if I can see anything that looks a little bit funky. This is, of course, just one side of the board, but might tell me if there is something horrendous going on here. Short of space. 820-2849. Just for anyone who ever wants to work on these, that's the number that is important when you're working on them. These pads look a little bit ugly, but then they're okay. Keyboard and trackpad held in by flimsy ribbon cables on this one. I think brackets hold them on the board. If the battery was swollen enough, it could have loosened them. Yeah, okay, no worries. So this is that's the keyboard cable that, ooh. Well, that's interesting. Okay, hang on. Hang on, I need one of those little Torx fellas. Ah, is this the one? Pentalobe, no. Pentalube. T5. That'll do. It's working. I should disconnect the battery, shouldn't I? Always disconnect the battery before you do this sort of work, because if you accidentally drop something on the board, create an accidental short, not good. So I'm just undoing the little cover on the keyboard. I thought I saw, ow, ouchie. Tom, 3 a.m. I should probably attempt to sleep. Thank you for joining, Tom. I do appreciate you staying on so late. Enjoy, and I will hopefully see you at the next one. No, that looks all right. That's okay. I'm not showing you, am I? That's useless. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing my little investigation here. And just looking out for anything that might look yucky. Corroded, green. Doesn't look too bad, you know. And I don't see anything here that would be really bad. So I'm going to go with Jay's advice. I know millions of people wouldn't, but I am going to, because, well, that's just the kind of guy I am. And I'm going to take the battery out and have a look what's underneath. Now, these batteries, they use a tri-lobe screwdriver. Again, just Apple being nice to us. Saying, we don't want you opening our stuff, not even replacing our batteries. So we won't just stick a nice little Phillips head, and we won't even put a Torx on there. We'll stick a tri-lobe screw on there, because we just like messing with you. And of course, the way my screwdrivers are set up here, there's a pentalobe. I do have one. I apologise for the ridiculous view at the moment. What's that one? Is that a? No, that's just a Phillips. That's my most used one. Ah, that looks like a tri-lobe. Tri-point screwdriver. 3 points on it instead of 4. All right, let's undo it. Well, this was loose. Someone's already had a go at that. There's one screw missing. I hope it's not floating around inside this thing. That's loose. And up comes the battery. Bit of liquid, leakage there. What's that? Chocolate milk or something like that? Weirdness. Okay. Well, the battery's not swollen. That's something. So it's not pushing up on the trackpad or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. But I don't like seeing little bits of crusty liquid inside computers. It's never a good sign. Okay. Okay. Oh, let me have a look at the battery. It looks like a genuine article. Yeah, yeah, this feels like a genuine one. It does say it's a genuine Apple, but I think this is the original battery that came with it. Maybe a slight, actually, you know what? There is a bit of swelling there, just under the trackpad. Just there. It would have just been hitting about there. It's not major, but it's there. So, oh, do we try it again with without the battery in and see if we have any more success? Okay. Now, I was copying all sorts of, criticism from people about which operating system I chose. So I'm going to choose a different one this time if I can find where I left my operating systems. There they are. So 10.10 didn't work. Now that's not necessarily because 10.10 won't run on this, it just didn't work on it. I tried 10, oh, cool. I tried 10.9 and I got abuse for that. So I've got 10.8. So I'm going to try that. .8 may not even run on this, but you never know. Is that the right one? No, that's the wrong one. That's the one that won't give me the voltage I need. Come on now. There we go. Green light. Pan spin. I don't have a 10.11 here. I think I might have one up in the house, but I don't have one on that little keychain. And I've got 10.11 installer, but I don't want to run the installer. I want to. Why'd I hate for old cap? That's 10.11, isn't it? Yeah, I don't have. I've got an installer, but I don't have a booting 10.11 here. I do on an external drive somewhere, but I don't have it here. Actually, I've got it on a great big SD. Maybe it is here. I don't know. Anyhow, it's yeah. Here we go. We've got an apple. Got an apple here. See a little apple? So. I've got two little SanDisk compact flash, USB 3 things, and they're quite good ones. And I've got one. They've both got an operating system on them. I can't remember which one. I don't know where they are, to be honest. It's so long since I've been working on these newer Macs. Never cared much for El Capitan. Oh, it's interesting. I really liked El Capitan. I'd be still on El Capitan now if I could be. Okay. Okay, we are still able to scroll, but once again, no clickety-click. Oh wow, well, I've even got iSnap menus running on this, so isn't that cool? So if I can't click, there's not much I can do here. And once again, I did try this with the mouse, and no success. You know, with an external mouse, no success there as well. So, so I think this is going to involve a little bit more work. I think it's going to involve some removal of the logic board, a little more inspection. It's going to involve, yeah, it's going to involve me actually having to work. So, yeah, it's going to involve me actually using my brain and having to think about it. What? Oh, wow, look, this is so funny. This is... Oh, dear. All right, okay, I've done something really stupid. Ah, look at that. All right. All right, let me try this. The last thing I try before I then give it away now. Okay, so what I didn't realize is I've got a little guy there. That's for my mouse here. So, oh, look at that. It does work with that mouse. So let's just try that. Oh, look at that. It is the trackpad. Oh, shuzzbutt. Okay, ignore. And then, okay, let's just go to here. What if I just press enter? Okay, so the mouse is working and the click is working, so I know that the trackpad is not working. Now what I do want to do here, I want to fire up, let me just try this. I'm going to try and rename this file. Oh, okay, this keyboard works. Screenshot. That's good. And let's just try the power button here. Right. Okay, so what do we know? We know that the keyboard works. We know that the mouse works externally when connected to the USB. We know that the trackpad moves around, but it doesn't click. And we know that the keyboard on this one doesn't work. Oh, hang on. It's bipping. So it does work, but just maybe some parts of it not working. Oh, I've got the control key stuck on. Okay. Oh, is that my gut? No. Okay. Okay, so this keyboard is messed up. So my thought, my thought is that this has had a liquid spill, and I think this keyboard is stuffed, and probably the trackpad as well. So in itself, that's not a particularly difficult to replace. It's not a difficult repair. It involves basically putting a new keyboard in. What sucks about it is that there are about 100 screws holding that keyboard in. I can buy replacements for quite cheap. I've found that often when I do buy replacements, the backlight of the keyboard is never quite as good. It generally ends up with hot spots. I have had trouble getting that nice, consistent illumination right across the keyboard when I use a replacement keyboard. That's just one of the downsides, I guess. So, but that's not the end of the world, essentially, if it works. So, Command tab, F keys work. Do the F keys. Let's just try the F keys. Let's try changing the brightness. Oh. Nope. Oh, hang on. Something worked. Yep, that did. Yep, okay. That's the keyboard backlight. Those keys work. I clearly have some keys working and some keys not. So, and most importantly, the power button. The power button doesn't work at all. So new top case and trackpad will get it done. Yeah, well, I'm not going to do the top case. I'm going to just do the keyboard. It'll be a lot cheaper to do. So, so I'm going to that's what I'm going to do. I'm basically going. Oh, let me just shut this down now. I will converse with the customer first and see if they this customer is like me and really likes 17-inch MacBook Pros. So I suspect this particular customer will want to look into repairing it. Yeah, I'm going to have to replace the keyboard. I think I might even have a spare trackpad. I'm going to just check that now because I do have a few 2010 bits and pieces here. I might even have a spare keyboard for it if we're really lucky, unless I used it. Yeah, I might have used it for something else. Let me just check. Oh, I didn't. Did I put that away? Is that it there? Bear with me a second. Oh, Merlin's beard. Nope. I think I must have put it away. Yeah, I had a whole stack of Mac chassis and stuff here, and I ended up, I think, putting them in the shed. So I'll have to go and have a look and see if I have a spare. Hopefully I do, and then I can do this without having to actually go out and buy extra parts. I can just do it from the spares that I have at my disposal. But that, I think, is where I'm going to call it quits. It is dark here now. It is 10 past 5 in the PM. For the people in the US, and I mean, you know, I'm looking at sort of, you know, I mean, Jay, far out. What is it? It's, what time is it over there? It's got to be ridiculously early. So, yeah, ship you on waiting too much. Yeah, 3:11 a.m. Oh, that's okay. Well, we've done later than that in the past, I suppose. So thank you. Oh, this is one of these dots that's red that's meant to be white. Yeah, that's clearly had liquid damage in here. So 12:11 in LA, 2:11 a.m. in Houston, and it's basically drinking time here. So this is why I have to stop the stream now. So I will be streaming more than once this weekend. So anyone who is watching that would like to watch more, I am going to be doing more streams this weekend. I've got a few. The other ones are just going to be probably largely just recaps and stuff like that. I've got a lot of recapping to do. I do plan to stream a few of them as I'm going. So if you do want to join in and have a look at some more, please feel free to. Let me just. Oh, you know how I disconnected? I'm going to need to plug that keyboard back in again, otherwise I won't be able to end the stream. Just going to find this plug here. What is it about USBs, the original USBs, that no matter what you put them in that way? No, that's not right. Put them in that way? No, that's not right. No, oh yeah, that's it. So thank you everyone, and where are we? We're sitting at 19 viewers at the moment, so I want to thank everyone who has been watching. I do appreciate it very much. Oops. Sorry. Let me just do this. There we go. So I can look at you when I say goodbye. Yeah, as I say, thank you everyone. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it, and I may or may not see you at a later stream later in this weekend. And thanks for watching, and have a good time. Have a good time.